to you right now just to say thank you. Thank you for getting a chance to fellowship together. Thank you for bringing my brother here safely. Thank you for the moments that we get to share. Thank you for this platform. Thank you for a chance to reach out to the community, and thank you for those who feel vulnerable and comfortable enough to come to me. Bless the words that I use today. Give me the words through you, and give my brothers the words as well. Give us peace, and I bless this whole space. In Jesus' name, I pray.
Amen.
Amen. All right, so today is Here for the Dads podcast, just as we do every single week. The only thing that's a little bit different is there's not a normal guest. Okay, when I say that not a normal guest, I mean I can hardly call you a guest because today I have my brother. And I say that a lot, but today I have my actual blood brother. So even the words you hear me say today and the speech that I have is a little bit different. Even the way we started this, I don't think me and my brother do anything without praying first. But let me close my mouth for a second and give it up for my boy, Marcus Crawl, my baby brother. What's going on, baby?
How you doing, brother?
How you doing? Man, I'm happy you came up here, dog. Like,
Hey,
wow, we talked about it. I didn't know we was going to do this.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a minute, man.
You've been watching faithfully and
I've
stuff,
been
too.
watching like I'm a dad, which I'm not. So
I mean, kind of. So what qualifies you to be here
Right.
is essentially, one, we share the same dad.
Yes,
And then two, you're a godfather.
I am.
Your godfather. That's a little bit what I want to talk about today. Right. We'll mix it up. We'll talk about a little bit of everything. It can get crazy. It can get deep. It can get whatever. You know what I'm saying? Right. We'll talk about daddy some and kind of how we got brought up. And then some of the things that we remember, the good, the bad, the whatever. And then mainly, I want to talk about you being a godfather. The reason why I want to do this is because I feel like someone in that position holds a very heavy weight. And that's sometimes not talked about. I think sometimes people do it on social media, or they do it socially, and there's this culture where you got to have a godparent or whatever. But when you get into that position, you don't really know what to do. I know for me personally, when I first became a godparent to Vaz kids, Saray and Sanaya, I was like, I was so happy, but I was like, what do I do? Like, how do I do this? At that point, I just had my own. Like, when I became a godparent, I didn't even have a child yet.
Okay.
So as I was still in the belly during that point in time.
Okay.
So I was like, what do I do? And I had to realize I had to go reach out and figure some stuff out. What was your first thoughts when he asked you?
Godfather to Azar or godfather to, I've got Najee,
I thought you were about to say I got 9 kids.
No.
no, when Najee asked you.
Yeah, so honestly it wasn't so much of a like, do you want to be a godfather? It was more so like, I think it was when he had initially introduced it to me and my man's Mitch. It was like he was introducing that, like we will be godfathers, as well as introducing the fact that his lady is pregnant. So it was like at the same time. But honestly, I didn't really think about it too much. I think his son Zen is 2 now, I want to say. So I mean, like 2 years ago, I was 2 years younger. You know what I mean? So I didn't really put too much thought into it. But I came to you 2-3 months ago, like really thinking about it, and this was more so when he was in Canada playing football. I was like, I really want to be there for him, or more so his girlfriend Deja, because she was going to be alone with the babies. So yeah.
How have you found yourself? Have you found yourself like getting into the role a little bit? Like, how has this podcast helped a little bit, or even our conversation?
Yeah, so I think I have, man. I think that I was telling, so I am in therapy. We've talked about that, and I remember telling her, telling you, like, I feel like I've become like more vulnerable to the world, and therefore, like, I'm able, when they say, or I'm sure it probably happens to you as well, when the baby comes into the room, you just start smiling, like just out of nowhere. Yeah. I've sensed,
which is probably very weird to a baby.
Yeah, yeah, and for a point in time, like, it was weird to me too. It was like, no, like, don't smile. What you smiling for? You know what I'm saying? That whole masculinity thing. But I feel like I have like become more into that role, coming in, and the babies actually run to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Want to hug me, and I pick them up. I feel like I'm beginning to really step into that role and, become someone more important to not only my friends, not only to you, but also to the to the babies?
I think you're at a significant advantage than where I was.
Okay.
Only reason why I say that is because before having Azai, I had absolutely no kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really been around kids. Because I'm the oldest. Think about it. None of our cousins that we are close with have kids or anything like that. Now, of course, Tiana has a lot of nieces and nephews who are a little bit younger, but they were afar. You know what I'm saying? Long distance. So changing diapers, nah, never learned that.
So you never changed mine?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think so. The age gap, I think we're like 5 years apart. I'm 30.
You're 30. I'm turning 26 in 2 months.
So I don't think so. So that would be like a younger Azai changing one of twins. That would not be smart. Unless I was super mature. Ain't no way in the world.
Yeah.
Ain't no way in the world I'd change that thing. Yeah, look. I probably would have slapped that thing. I would have slapped it in the face. Nah, ain't no way.
That's real crazy. That's good.
That would have been dangerous.
Okay,
yeah. You would have hated me for the rest of your life. I'd have been, ain't no telling what I would have did.
I would have been running around no diaper. You know what,
absolutely.
Mama?
Yeah, I mean, they run around. They run around with no diaper right now. Boys, I mean, it was you. I mean, we had just had a girl at that time, so it was me, then Aaron, then Anna, then you. I don't know. We were close, and I think that's probably why we act the most the same now. But I don't think I changed a diaper.
Okay.
So yeah, I never changed a diaper before that. I didn't do any of the baby talk. Honestly, just being real, there was two things I didn't like growing up.
Okay.
Like two things I could care less for.
Right.
One of them was cats. They were just, The other thing.
Is that why you don't come to my house?
I didn't even know you had a cat until like yesterday. It's Sam's cat. Yeah. I don't. Well, there are some cats that kind of act like dogs. Like my sponsor had a cat that acted like a dog. I can rock with that.
Okay. What color was it?
Brown and gray. Why?
Not like an orange, because like I hear
well,
like
brown
orange
to me is
cats.
orange is brown, but not all orange. It's not like a red-headed cat. It was like got brown and black and stuff. What did you hear about orange cat?
No, I was talking to this girl, and I don't know if it was a compliment or not. It was my friend's girlfriend. She said I had like an orange cat. Yeah,
bro. What is that?
It was like I think they're like spontaneous, but not necessarily
maybe
like in a good way.
Because you got a funk type look, right? Like a hippie.
No, I don't think that's what she meant. I don't think that's what she meant, bro. Nah.
Well, you think it was at least a compliment though?
I need to ask her.
We'll
figure it out. I'm gonna ask. It was like I don't know. Like I think she was more so telling me if anything I'm weird, but in a good way.
Like you act like an orange.
I'm like,
when I think orange cat, I think of Garfield.
Yeah, Garfield.
Yeah, I mean, like,
you ain't
Garfield.
lazy, Garfield.
True. Nah, she wasn't saying. I guess like like the weird things that cats do that people typically don't like walking on the tops of the like the.
Actually, you. That is you.
That's what she was saying.
Like you just do. And it's not awkward. You just do it like you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and I don't really like ask anybody for like, can I? I'm just touching in your hair. Like,
I don't really like that in cats. I like that in you, but I don't like that in cats.
Okay.
Because cats, that mean they don't listen. They're not like dogs. They don't come to you when you open the door and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's just really weird. So that's the first thing that I did not like.
The cats.
The other thing I did not like, babies. I thought they were ugly. They were weird looking. They come in the world like these little alien looking things. They're bald.
Yeah.
And they just look at you and they just stare. They don't say anything.
Okay.
So the two, I think it's because they stare. Cats and babies just stared.
Okay.
And I didn't like that. So anybody that knew me knew that I didn't like cats. I didn't like babies.
Okay.
But once you have a child, things start changing. It's really weird. You ever realize going into a grocery store and you got the baby with you and you can see another adult, right? It's either a male or female. And they kind of do that little smirk thing. You're like, okay, they probably have a kid, especially if it's a guy. If you see a guy and they pass and they kind of smile, they probably have a child. If they see you with the baby and they just keep on walking, they probably ain't got no kids. And that's what happened to me. Like before then, I could care less about a baby. Now, when I see other people with kids, it's kind of feel a little passion in my heart. I get a little attached to seeing other people with babies. It's oh, that's so sweet and stuff like that. I feel like you've always been like that, though.
I have, to a certain extent, I will say yes. I have been, I don't know if this is a curse word, but like been softer than majority of my friends.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask a question. So like, when did you start like feeling, like truly feeling like more vulnerable and sort of like, letting your shoulders down and your that wall down towards your babies and start doing like the baby talk and like all that stuff?
I don't know if it was immediate. Like
Okay.
it was, so I can say, and I think some dads can probably relate to this. Like when you first going through the pregnancy, the wife is super, or the girlfriend or whatever, whoever that partner is, they're super like into the pregnancy. Like they feel attached to them. They might be talking to the baby and all these different things. When you're the dad and you don't have any kids and that's the first thing, they're usually not, the attachment just isn't that tight. You can't see it. You're not living with the baby all the time. Like the baby's not living inside of you, right? You might read to the baby, maybe feel the baby start kicking. That's when it gets a little bit more real. But it's not until the baby gets there that it actually hits you like, oh snap, I got a kid. Mm-hmm. So for me, I was super happy that my baby wasn't like the average size or like average weight, maybe 6, 7, 8 pounds. As I was 10 pounds, like a big hefty baby. So that kind of made my wall go down a little bit because I didn't feel like I had to be like my super big body wasn't gonna crush the gentle baby and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So then now I felt like I could be like me and him were on the same page in that manner. Then after that, I tried to like talk to him and I was just speaking like, come on, man.
Like you talking to me?
Yeah, like I'm talking to you right now, man. And it just didn't feel
loose neck.
Yeah, it didn't feel cute.
Yeah.
So and then I guess hearing other people speak to the baby, it naturally made like the soft talk come, and I think spending time with the baby is kind of what built that relationship. It kind of made me feel a little bit softer, a little bit. Soft ain't a curse word on it. You're fine.
Gotcha.
Like, it made me feel softer, kind of put that wall down a little bit. And I started attaching myself to him, and now when I saw other babies, I could see my baby in those babies. So it's no more like babies are ugly or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was actually good, but
you know what was I think one thing that kind of, and I've still got to think about it a bit more, but one thing that kind of, pushed me forward even more was when I got to hold the twins and they were like, I think a week old or like 2 weeks old.
Where were we at?
We were at the crib.
My crib?
Yeah. I was on the couch. And it was either a couple of, when do they let like babies go home?
But it's not like no puppies.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like
It's more like
stay
a mommy
overnight,
thing.
right?
Yeah, it's more like a mom thing whenever mom's ready to go home. So that's C-section. So she had a C-section the first time.
Okay.
He's talking about with Azar, the twins.
The twins.
Oh, yeah.
When they come home?
That was a VBAC. So that probably was like a day or two old, bro.
Yeah, so we came up like I think within the week, and I got to hold them, and I was like, yo, like I'd never before that time held a human so young, so small.
Because Avery this was like COVID season, so y'all probably didn't even come up, and then we went to Guam, right?
So. Yeah.
How did that feel like right then? Like now being a dad, like did it still touch you holding those twins? Like what did it feel like?
First thing honestly that came to mind when you asked that question was like I felt important. To be honest, man. Maybe that was when I began to like unconsciously really start taking serious that what am I? A godfather? Yeah, or an uncle. Excuse me.
Yeah. I mean,
an uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about to the twins?
Uncle. Yeah, and to the twins and to all the babies. I was like, oh, like this is not to say like, oh, like he's really in it now. It was like, well, I mean, you guys after Avery, you guys were then outnumbered. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's when I really start like they really do need help.
Yes, we got doubled up and stuff.
Yeah, I think that too. That's when I really kind of saw like the village, right? That you guys need and how important it's gonna be, and that's why I'm happy I'm up here now. I'm glad that you guys are in like Massachusetts or New York or something like that. You know what I mean?
It's important that you see that though, because you don't have to be the father of the child to be a father figure.
Yeah,
and you being an uncle. And you being a godfather, or you honestly even being like a coach, like if you were coaching or doing some type of training, they still see you as that model. Like the kids don't really care if you have another kid or not. They can't decipher the difference between them. You're the man in their life, and you are a figure in their life. You're going to be a father figure, and that's really how it works. So when the kids see you, you got to keep that in mind. So
Yeah.
how you talk, what you
Yeah.
say, how you say it, and I mean, you ain't got to tailor yourself because you're already a good dude. Period. But I mean, it's good that you see that because I don't know if I saw myself in that way. I just wanted to be the cool uncle. I like to be the uncle daddy. That's what I like.
Uncle daddy. Yeah,
I'm the one who like to be on the grill with the flip flops and the sandals, and I want to cook for all the kids and in the neighborhood and stuff. I like that. That's my kind of feel.
No, that's a good point. I probably as of like a month or two ago, I really started realizing like the impact that I actually do have on like the kids that I may have grown up with, but they were still like a handful of years younger than me. You know what I'm saying? I got the chance to talk to a couple of my young boys over the at the track meet, and I kind of afterwards, like right after, I realized how they listened to me, right? How they looked at me. You know what I'm saying? How they were really paying attention to my words. Whereas if they were like talking to their parents, they're like, yeah, mom, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Really like that respect and whatnot to where I was like, I need to make sure that when I am saying something, I am saying the right things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And all that kind of stuff. So that's a good point.
Because you never know when Najee is going to call on you. Like he's going to need you because, I mean, we both know there's been point in times in our lives as you start to get older where you start questioning your parents and you just don't want to listen to them. They've told us enough right stuff to do, but it's like I'm gonna go find out for myself.
Right,
that's like I'm gonna go find out for myself.
Yeah,
and unless you have another influence in your life that they can lean on or that you can lean on, I mean, you're just gonna really be finding out by yourself.
Facts.
So imagine like you being in a position where Najee's trying his best to try to tell his daughter, right? His daughter, his little girl.
He's got a son who is 2, and then he's got a little girl, Coco.
Okay, Zen and Coco, right? Imagine them trying to tell them something, and they're just not listening, going to parties or whatever. And it's like you now have taken your role and understood how important it is. You've built a relationship with those kids as they gotten older. Now he can reach out to you as a friend and as a godfather. Hey, bro, listen to me about this, and that. I'm not saying enforce my will on them or whatever, but can you just help me protect them? Kind of speak this into their life or whatever, and just kind of talk to them. That's going to be extremely important. You need that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we had it. I don't know. I mean, you might have to back me up on this. Maybe I'm tripping.
Okay.
I don't know if mommy and daddy really had that outside of maybe sports. I don't know if they had a friend or an uncle or anybody like that I can remember.
So you wouldn't consider like the families that that used to come over, like Uncle Sam and what? Did Uncle Sam and them used to come?
Yeah, I mean, we used to go over there.
Okay, but like like we was.
But I didn't really build a relationship with them. Not that I remember. I don't remember building a relationship with them at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's something that they needed to do. I don't know if I grew up with it like that. But thankfully we had sports. So through sports there was like Coach Branson, Coach Tank, Mr. Williams, who was one of my 5th grade teachers. Like those guys were father figures, honestly, to me. Like they did a lot of cool and great things, and they took me under their wing and said whatever. It's not because I did or didn't have a father at home. It's just that's who they were, and that's what I picked up. And that's why it's extremely important that you're in that role and you're getting closer to somebody, that you pay attention to what you do and what you say and what you're putting out.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this before to you, and I may have even gotten it from you, but how great isn't even a word. How amazing of a job Mom and Dad did at putting us around coaches that wasn't just growing us up, so to speak, because we were with them for so long, to be just great athletes, right? But great young men, great young women, for Anna and everyone else. And they were like that village. For us,
absolutely. I think at first I didn't really recognize it or didn't really appreciate it as much. I felt like they just put us in sports. We just happened to land in that. But I think it was a trust thing. I think any parent who allows their child to go into the world a little bit more, either to do sports or to do an extracurricular activity, you're not just putting them there willy-nilly, right? You got to fill it out. You got to understand who they're going to be with and all the different things. But I think they did put us in a good spot. I think they put us with some good people, and they felt out the people that we were around. And the people that we shouldn't be around, they definitely told us. They definitely told us.
Yeah.
And then I didn't understand. I thought it was wild or whatever. But, some of the people was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't hang out with them. I didn't realize that until college or whatever. Yeah. But I'm happy for that. I'm appreciative of that. One, because I think Daddy worked so many different jobs. Mommy worked a lot too. Like they worked a significant amount. I'm still happy that they were even able to do what they did for us. But because he worked so much, I didn't really get to build a relationship with him the way I wanted. And I don't know if it was really a work thing or not. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's because he's got a different? I would call him introvert. Like, would you say he's introverted?
I think I don't know. I don't know because looking at when Daddy was with his friends, he can be the quietest, but he can also be the loudest.
But that's introvert. Yeah, you can. He's around people he's comfortable with. But anywhere else, he's quiet. Like, still to this day, I could talk to somebody and be like, bro, I never heard your dad speak.
Well, I mean, also, too, like, the uncomfortability, what's the word? We don't know how uncomfortable he was when going to certain places because, you know, he came from Liberia, how Mom used to do a lot of the stuff, paying for the bills and the insurance and stuff like that. But, I mean, if you could be right.
Yeah, it's just something that I've now been trying to decipher as I'm thinking about my relationship with Daddy and where we are now. Because now that I'm a grown man, I got kids and all the other stuff, I'm like now seeking for that relationship and trying to go back and see, you know, what our relationship did look like and how I can strengthen it. He's gone. Like, he's in Liberia right now doing his own thing. And I'm happy that he's getting a chance to do that. But he's also not here with me so I can kind of build that and so he can be granddaddy and all the other stuff. Yeah. What I've been trying to also do is give myself context. I listen to Tim Ross. He was saying context is king, context is king, context is king. So I'm never trying to blame anybody for anything without having context. I'm still not trying to blame him for anything. I'm just trying to understand like why our relationship is the way it is. Not saying that it's bad or anything, but we have to remember too that his father was taken from him very early. Yeah, and I don't really understand. I don't really know how their relationship was. Yeah. In West African culture, father to a son is not as close that as you see maybe with like, I don't know, a dad and a son in the middle of Texas who go shooting and stuff like that together. Say the same thing, so I mean that could be part of it. Could be like a social or a cultural thing. Cultural thing, yeah, and then maybe I just can't wait to get a chance to ask him. Maybe one day I'll get him on here. I don't know if he's gonna do that with the cameras. I mean,
you gotta put one up in the corner.
Yeah, but am I making sense though?
No, yeah, man, you're making a lot of sense. That context, I would definitely agree, is key. That's why I think I told you about like the walks that Daddy and I used to go on at Duke Wall.
You mentioned it. I mean,
they went great. Like they,
who brought it up? Like
I did. So I mean,
what made you want to do it?
I was in therapy, bro, and we were talking about, you know, me getting closer to Dad, and she was like, you know, maybe you should, you know, maybe, cause she knew I went on walks and whatnot. She was like, maybe you should take your dad to go. And at first I was like, go walk with Daddy. What are you talking about? Like, we hardly talk. We came to the crib, you know what I'm saying? But he was, you know, he would, you know how Daddy would be like, you know, you don't never call me. So one day I was like, you know, you want to go walk me or something like on the Sunday.
Yeah, he used to go walking too a lot.
Right. So one day we went walking, and I either had like a list of questions on my notes, or I just tried to build off of whatever he would give me. Just kind of getting that context. And we talked we probably did like 2 or 3 times, but we talked the whole thing around. It's like 2.5 miles. Wow. And he told me about Mom, he told me about Daddy. I mean, like the names, and this one thing that really hit me, how we are named after our family members. And he was like, and so all of his mom, his dad, and everyone who passed away, it's like by naming us after them, they were like reborn. And I was like, oh, bro. Yeah. I was like, damn. I'm sorry, Daddy, for anything. If I ever complained
about anything,
I apologize. But yeah, man, they were beautiful, man. They were, and I mean,
you were getting context, right?
I was getting context, and that's why, like, too. I mean, I'll just say it. When I had dropped him off at the airport, and I called y'all crying, like, you know, I don't know how. I don't know if I will be able to, you know, live with myself if he doesn't come back. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to know. I want to know more. Yeah. There's so much more to know.
Yes. You know? And as kids, your purview is so small. Like it's really tunnel vision on what you like, what you do, and it's hard for you to understand a whole lot. So people don't really tell you a whole lot. Yeah. And I think there becomes a gap between when you go off to college and kind of start your own life, where I think that's the gap in the window to where you really need to start getting closer to your parents and start being able to talk to them, start fixing whatever it is that's messed up in the relationship, start finding words to ask the questions you need to, because lately I've been seeing on social media these posts popping up as like the 7 questions to ask your father before it's too late.
Yeah. Ooh.
7 questions to ask your mom before it's too late. Yeah. And what I have realized now, or at least seen, and maybe it's a son to mother thing, I don't know what it is, but I've been seeing people get a lot closer to their mothers. Maybe it's a son to mother thing. Okay. They get a lot closer to their mothers, and dads never really open up about anything. Yeah. They don't really want to talk, and I don't know if it's probably really more so of a man thing. You probably talk about it a lot in mental health, your mental health therapy. But if men aren't opening up and fathers aren't opening up to their kids and to their sons, you leave out a whole lot of context.
A bunch, man.
They end up resenting you for a lot of things they just don't understand. Yeah. And I think I've been there. Yeah. I think I am there. Yeah. There's a lot of things that I wouldn't say maybe super traumatic, but a whole lot of things that I didn't understand that was going on in our house that I'm like, why was it like this? I think I give a little bit more grace now than maybe that I used to, but I realize because I don't have context.
Yeah. Yeah. I think too that one of the one of the hard things is like how much we expect from them, right? Yeah. So like if it's like I'm 25, right, and I'm trying to get closer to my parents, I might expect them to start it off. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's like we all know that like mental health, like awareness and whatnot is growing. Yeah. But
it's normally growing on us.
Yeah, it's growing on right. It was like dang near non-existent when they were growing up. You know what I'm saying? And they did what they could. Yeah. Right. But with what they had. But also too, one thing I learned was that maybe sometimes they also didn't do what they should have with what they had. You know what I'm saying? It's just falling short. No, you know what I'm saying? It's all as humans.
We all fall short.
Right. We all fall short. But it's hard to be that bigger person and be like, I know we did this, da-da-da. And though I expect you to start this conversation off, I'm going to do it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And not doing it out of resentment. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Because a big part of what I know, I've heard it from daddy a whole lot. I remember mommy too. I mean, this is an old country southern thing too. It's like, I'm your parent, you a child. Yeah. What's the line? I ain't one of your little friends.
Right, I ain't one of your little friends.
I remember one time mom made me so mad.
So. Yeah.
And I don't know what it is with old people and Facebook. They just don't know how to use it right. Yeah. But she made me so mad one time. And in my head, all I heard was like, I ain't one of your little friends. I unfriended her on Facebook.
You unfriended mom on Facebook?
Yes.
Is it unfollow, right? So is it unfriend or unfriend?
I think it's unfriend. So
you were no longer mom's friend.
I was, because I ain't one of her little friends. I was like, cool, I ain't one of your little friends.
Yeah, right.
Delete. You and I blocked it.
Right, boom. Yeah, that's like that. Did she know?
I think she found out. Because she be randomly, instead of sending you a post, mom will screenshot the post and send it to you. Like she hiding. She do it in the group all the time. Yeah. I'm like, Mom, we all follow each other. Just send us the post.
Send us the post.
She'll just screenshot it.
Right.
And just send it. And is she happy that she just know how to screenshot?
Right. Hey, it's something new. It's like, look, I don't know. It's
I'm grown now.
Right, I'm grown now. I ain't gotta do the show. Okay. Right.
If you had to go look back though on your relationship with you and dad. Ew, saying dad.
Yeah, I said dad once. I was like, that's not what I
But some other people saying daddy is weird to them because we're grown or whatever. I'm used to saying daddy. So it is what it is. So I say dad. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Here for the daddies. But no. Let's say, looking back at y'all's relationship, what things do you think he could have done better? Mm-hmm. And what things do you believe he did great?
So first thing that came to mind was he could have definitely not beat us that much.
Yeah. Well, I ain't get no whooping like that. I ain't
what you mean?
Mommy was the one telling. I got told mom.
No, you got daddy. I remember. I mean, everybody did, bro. Well, I said us in terms of because even when like say you got a whooping,
Yeah.
it still traumatized me.
Oh yeah, okay,
You know what
I
I'm
see what you're
saying? But I do
It
remember
was because I only remember specifically like 2 times, but the one time he whooped the whole house. That's probably what you talking about.
I still, and we had this conversation before, and I still believe that there was at least a handful of times that you were beaten by him, but maybe your brain just blocked it out because I had bad with. Because I told you of a time where like I watched it and I was just crying. It was bad. I don't want to talk about it. But okay, so one, yes, beating us.
Can we pause right there too?
Go
Because
ahead.
I think that was the first moment where we started talking about like, hey, bro, you need to go get mental health therapy. Like,
You know
need to
what?
go
I
to
think it
therapy.
was. I think it was.
There's been, I've realized now too, like there's a lot of things that I personally cannot recall from our childhood that all 3 of y'all have tried to remind me of.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize I've completely blocked it out. Like I don't remember the time. I don't remember the date. I don't remember it happening.
Yeah.
And I need to go get that out. And I think that's part of like why I cry so much, because it's like I be right on the verge of tears at any point in time about anything. And I'm just so sentimental. So I'm excited. At the end of the month, I'll be starting mental health therapy.
Beautiful, man.
And it's gonna be good. But keep going. I didn't mean to stop.
Everybody get therapy. Oh, I will say too. I mean, it could have been because you blocked it out, or because of football and all the head injuries. But anyway,
Yeah, it could be. That could be what too.
But yeah, so not beating us as much, talking to us.
Yeah.
Man, it's key.
Yeah.
We all know that. We don't really need to get into the whole communication thing and why did this happen and da 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 da. Rather than just coming into the house, y'all know what to do. We all got we all got beats like at the top of. Why was it at the top of the steps? We all got beats.
I have no clue.
What is this? So
it's
we
just top of the mountain. Like,
yeah,
go
it's
up
top of it, right?
top of the
Right.
mountain.
Then everybody got to walk downstairs.
Yeah.
And, cheeks hurting. So that was that.
That's funny. We remember that.
What was something that Daddy did? That Daddy did well.
Yeah, that great.
Daddy did great.
Yeah.
I mean, well, he definitely, and I got this from you. He was definitely a great provider.
Yeah.
That was one of the things they did great at. We always had food to eat.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
The lights were on majority of the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you. I mean, you might have been too young to remember it a couple of times where it was about to get shaky a little close.
Okay. But yeah, so he was a great provider, and I think that's why we are so hardworking now, because we had a good role model. I don't know if he could have worked less. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Say, that's the context we don't have.
The context we do not have. But I mean, also too, he was always trying to send stuff back home, and everything like that. So it's priority. What is it really? What is the priority? But yeah, our daddy was also very hilarious.
He was
very hilarious.
And the thing is, I think there was a point in time though where, like, looking back now, man, it's crazy when you start getting older and start seeing stuff.
Yeah.
Looking back now, like I remember when I guess maybe I was younger, and he would naturally like have the joy to him to like just say a few things, just be funny and just say certain stories or whatever. But I remember a time where he only got funny when like he was like delirious. So like he had been working nonstop. He was super tired. He was finally sitting in his chair. When he come in, his hat be sideways.
Yeah.
His hat be cocked to the side.
Yeah.
And the first thing he go to do is grab a Guinness stout and sit on the couch.
Right.
And that's when the joke's gonna start coming. After he finished the first bar.
Yeah.
Because he gotta.
Right.
I don't know if it was like he was just in a depressed state or just a tired state all the time.
Oh man.
But he had to go. That was the first thing he did.
Yeah.
And during that time, like it was more so like, let me stay out of daddy's way. Like I don't want to bother him or do anything
He
like
ain't
that.
ate yet.
Yeah, he ain't ate yet. He didn't do all that other stuff. And it's almost like you was stepping on eggshells, but man, this might just be called context. That might just be the episode. Context is king because it's context that we just didn't have. We didn't understand.
Right.
Like I used to resent him for not coming to like my sporting events. Like he did not come to any football games. Ma didn't come to any football games. I feel like until like maybe my
2010
senior year.
No.
So they came to one.
Oh wow.
My junior year when Aaron came to Chapel Hill, I want to say. It was like when we all traveled to Chapel Hill. And I felt like, I was like, man, they only want to come because Aaron's going to be there. They don't really care about.
You mean
me playing
college?
football.
You
High
talking
school.
about college?
High school. I don't know if you realize they didn't come to any games.
So they didn't come to any of the games when y'all won states?
No, so into senior years when they started coming to the games.
Okay.
So in my head, I was like, okay, first of all, they don't want me to play football. and they don't really care about me. This is just me being inside my own head.
Right.
And I was like, all they care about is making money and doing all the other stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then I remember Aaron traveled with us on a varsity game to Chapel Hill, and my first thought was like, dang, they only coming because Aaron coming. They're not even coming to see me. Like I was beat down. I didn't know what to think. I didn't have no contest for anything. I just thought they didn't care about me, and they didn't care about what I was doing. And at that point, like football was everything to me.
Wow.
So then I moved into senior year. We started getting better, and I think they still missed a good amount of games, but they started coming more. Like my mom started coming more, and I think Daddy was able to make like state championship and all that other stuff. Yeah. But during that time, I just resented him not being present, not realizing he was doing everything he could to make sure that I could still play football.
Yeah.
That I could that we could still do all these different things in case we needed money for school, in case we needed money for shoes. He was, I would say, the ultimate provider. He was also the ultimate leader as far as like leading by example. Yeah. He showed us that he was a great giver. Like these are all things that I was seeing that I wasn't seeing then that I'm seeing now. But when we sat down with Mr. Rob, he talked about men can only use what's in their toolbox.
I remember that, yeah.
And if it ain't in your toolbox, brother, you ain't gonna be able to use it. Or you ain't even know you need it until it comes time for it. So like using his words and talking to us and getting closer to us, that might not have been something he ever did with his dad. Or might have been something he didn't even know that we really needed.
Facts. I would definitely put it on that. Yeah.
And I don't think my bad, go ahead.
I was just gonna and you never talked to mom or daddy about
that.
Why? Yeah.
No. So if mom's gonna watch this, it's gonna be the first time she hears that.
Wow. Because you definitely talked to at least mom about some deeper stuff.
No, yeah. And I have gotten there with moms. Because me and mom, we used to clash, boy.
Oh, that's all.
Like, it was just, it was wild. Yeah. At one point in time, mom's name in my phone was ex-wife.
I remember you telling me that's crazy. That's crazy.
Right? That's dead crazy. Stuff. And you ask any of the boys back in the day, like, they knew it was like that between us. And I don't know why. And I don't know if it's because I was her oldest boy and like I was the experiment child because they never had kids before, or if I was just rebellious for whatever. I don't know.
I mean, coming to sporting events, bro, it's like they stopped coming to mine as well when I was like 13. So I mean, but that's big though. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's huge. And
we gotta remember they were parents for the first time.
They were parents for. When did mom have her first? How old was she when she?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do the numbers like
I'm an English major. I don't do numbers, bro.
Let me see. Mom's like, I'm not gonna say a higher number if anything.
Good luck.
Let's go 55. We go 50. Mom 55. You're 30. So she had you when she was like 25. That's right.
Okay, yeah, I think that's right.
Oh, okay.
I really don't know the answer. So
okay, all right, so we go with 25, right? Okay. Is that young?
She was. If you had a baby today.
I mean, I got help. So like,
okay,
you know what I'm saying?
But think about her brothers don't have no kids. She's the oldest, so she would have been me. She was. She is me. Like she was the first one to have the kids. She was oldest, and she was away from home.
Right.
And she then wasn't married at that time.
Right.
And she had just got out of another long-term relationship before that. And now it's like, okay, now I got this kid that I gotta raise, and I gotta do this. And my husband's not from here, and like all this different stuff. So now, I mean,
husband, boyfriend.
Yeah, boyfriend at that. I don't think I ever called daddy a boyfriend.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, daddy. I don't know who supposed to. I don't know. Yeah, true. How long were they together before? Wow, context. That's crazy.
To ever think that my daddy was a boyfriend.
Dang.
It
was a baby daddy. Whoa. It was a baby daddy. That's crazy. Daddy was
not only think about, so not just he was a baby daddy. Yeah. Daddy got here from Liberia. He played pro soccer. Yeah. And that's how he got here. Right. So he started playing. I think he got hurt, moved somewhere else, met mommy. And next thing you know, little
baby daddy. What? That's crazy. Y'all. So you grew up in a. I was about to say in apartments, but you at the time though. I'm saying because we had the house when I was born, right? Yes. So beforehand, y'all were
I lived in the apartment first.
Okay. Still in Durham.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
City.
That's crazy.
Speaking of, let me pause real quick.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if y'all know, we've been every once in a while taking a little. Let's take one together.
Okay.
Take a little sip.
No face.
Yeah, I crushed mine already.
So yeah, we taking a little sip of a little bourbon.
Yeah.
And I haven't been drinking in a little while, so it's like, it's feeling.
I'm sweating. Good. I'm perspirating right now. I don't know if you can see it. I hope the camera's not good.
And the reason why it's important for y'all to even know is I have a bottle of Old Hillside straight bourbon whiskey.
Yeah.
And this is the Centennial version. This is the special, and it's autographed and everything.
Right.
If you don't know, Hillside High School in Durham, North Carolina is one of the oldest historically black high schools in all of the East Coast. Probably all of the country. I don't know. But it might be the oldest in North Carolina. I got to check that out. If not, the oldest is the second. And then that was 100 years last year. My class went back down. A lot of people went back down, and they decided, Old Hillside Bourbon decided that they were going to make one of their bottles, the Centennial bottle, and I got 2 of them bad boys.
Yeah.
I only opened the bottle in the house when somebody who went to Hillside is in the building.
Yeah.
So I whipped that bad boy out, pour Sonya a glass so you get to get a little something.
Yeah.
So that's why you were very moderate.
Yeah. In my head, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, we started off chilling.
Yeah.
But, of course, you in the building. You a state champ. I'm a state champ.
Ooh.
We Hillside guys.
Yeah.
So I pour my little bottle.
Yeah.
Now back to business. I don't even remember where we was. But, yeah, back to baby daddy.
Yeah, but baby daddy. That's crazy. I'm going to call daddy. So, daddy, you was a baby daddy.
If you call him a baby daddy, you might reach through that phone.
I don't know. He might come back early just to make sure. But nah, think about it though. That's.
Let's talk through this like as brothers. Right?
Okay.
Because you've kind of been in a position where you have taken some time and you were intentional about taking some time to get to know him. If you were me, which you kind of are, we can look alike, act alike, and you're my brother as well.
Mm-hmm.
How do I start trying to build the relationship that I want with him? And I'm unconsciously also thinking about my son later being in a position.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I would say obviously just kind of taking the same approach that I did, right? And
go walking.
Go walk. Well, you're all the way up here.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, you can go walking or just jump on the phone or something like that. And just one thing. It's kind of like getting to know someone, right? You kind of get rid of you and like yourself in a sense, and more so just invest yourself in him. You know what I'm saying? So like, not to say don't try and connect, but like don't take something that he said and then just like kind of relate to it. Just really listen to him as much as you can. You know what I'm saying? You can have questions written down or just kind of let it go candidly. But I would advise you have questions written down because, you know, sometimes until daddy really gets rolling, it can be very short,
Bro, you never met my dad before, Sonny, but I can't wait until you get a chance to.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to my wife. My dad is so, like, cut and dry, very black and white.
Yeah.
When he leaves a voicemail, it sounds like he's calling a business.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Maggie, is your daddy? Is daddy?
Yeah.
If you get a chance, call me at your earliest convenience.
Yeah, I'm like, your earliest convenience.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Like, why is it always so short?
Yeah.
Even when I'm talking to him on the phone, it's almost like I'm like in an interview. I feel very uncomfortable, and it's just I don't know. Maybe it's not even the context thing. It's
just how he is. Straight to the point.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
And then he's so much to the point that like at the end of the conversation, when I say like, all right, daddy, love you, he'd be like, oh, okay.
Okay, I was about to ask you the same thing. I was like, what you were about to say something, Sonny?
No, does it ever sound like, because when my dad leaves a voicemail, it sounds like he's praying.
Oh, how does that sound?
I want to hear.
Yeah. And it's like all my uncles, pretty much any Haitian that leaves a voicemail on our phone, it sounds like they're praying. And
that's funny,
and
man.
they end the voicemail with, I mean, God bless.
God bless. I was thinking the same thing in God's name. That's great. That's funny. Now, I was about to ask you, like, has daddy ever told you, like, he love you? Because, like, I remember.
I want to actually think about it, too.
Yeah, think about it. Because I've tried it, like, once or twice, like, at the very end. I don't know. Maybe he didn't hear me. Maybe he did not.
No, that
nigga. He definitely heard you.
We just taught my dad how to use that word.
Oh, wow.
Because Valerie, she understands. Well, you watch the podcast. You know Valerie uses the word I love you.
Yeah, all the time.
She uses it, she means it. So I think it was either my mom or my sister. They were like,
Oh, that's good.
So we got to start telling daddy he got his.
When you said that too, I just automatically started remembering like we had to teach Avery and Azad to say "I love you" back. First, teach him what it is,
Yeah.
and then mom would call me on FaceTime, whatever, and say, "Okay, Azad, I love you," and Azad just be looking at the camera like, like you're supposed to say it back.
Yeah.
Like, I love. So I think both our parents have shown, like our fathers have shown, that they're children in that area. Like that is something that they weren't taught.
Yeah.
And that maybe that whole column
Yeah.
in their life of like reaching out to people, having some emotional intelligence with their kids and stuff like that. Maybe they're childlike in that area.
Yeah.
I just thought about it. I don't think I've ever heard daddy say, "I love you." I know he does. I think the closest thing to it was I remember him just, I don't know, asking you to like hand him something. And you might have been like almost 18 or maybe you were younger than that because you left for school for that age. Might have been like 15 or something. He was, "Oh, thank you, baby." And like first time I heard him say it like that of like our big age. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what?
I feel like I've heard him tell Anna,
Yes.
"I love you," though.
I cannot wait until we get Anna on here. I try to get her on here today.
Yeah.
Just helping mom at home with the kids.
Anna's your sister.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I've realized that the perspective and the relationships that we have with daddy are very different.
Okay.
And I think this is only a conversation we had maybe a week or two ago, and I can't wait to dive into it. We always have deep conversations at the house.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to end up having them before we can even get on a podcast. But a lot of things that she remembers, a lot of things that she sees, has seen in the house, and the perspective she has is different. Because I think daddy was softer with her.
He definitely was.
So there's, I guess that means that it adds an extra layer on top of just being a parent. There's also some masculinity.
Yeah.
Conflict, I guess, if you want to call it. I'm not gonna say toxic masculinity because that ain't what it is.
Yeah, it's
I
not
don't even
toxic
like the
masculinity.
word.
It's just more so
And culture
Is
probably
it
too.
invulnerable? No, the unwillingness to be vulnerable. Let's call it that.
Okay,
Yeah.
So I think that was another layer that probably added on to it. I mean, when we dap him up, we hug, but I don't know if I just ever just hugged him.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
And I think in our house, period, somehow all four of us were very tight knit. From my perspective, we were still tight knit. We were physical. We hugged each other. We played wrestle. We never actually physically fought.
Yeah,
ever.
That's me and
Well, you and Anna, y'all got like a Tom and Jerry type of relationship.
but facts, we never threw fists. That's crazy. That was actually crazy.
And because we've seen other siblings like do that and heard it. That was not normal to us at all.
Yeah.
But in the house, our house, I guess from watching our parents, they weren't very intimate. Like I don't remember seeing them very physically intimate. So I don't know that I ever really got it from them or if I've become a product of that. Like I always then wanted to yearn for physical intimacy or like physical touch being my love language. I don't know if that also bred that. And the reason why I even brought that up is because I'm like, okay, I don't remember like hugging daddy besides like, dap up hug or whatever.
Dap up,
And then I was like, I remember kind of getting closer to Ma as I got older, but before high school state championship, like the game before state championship when we beat New Bern, that was like the first time I like ever really went and hugged Ma. Probably for like over like 10 years.
You said it was before the Newborn game?
Right? No, the New Bern game. Remember,
Like
that game was big.
Like after y'all, it was like 7-0.
Yeah, like it was really wild. Like I remember crying and running around the field. Everybody was running, and I went over to the sideline and I hugged her. And it wasn't until I hugged her that I felt, it wasn't like a cringy feeling, and it wasn't quite uncomfortable, but it was unfamiliar.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh snap! Like I don't know if I've been this physically intimate with my mom or my dad in like a long time. And it almost made me pause in the midst of all that stuff going on. I was like, oh snap. But ever since like after that, when I went off to college, started getting closer to her, and also being able to talk to daddy as an adult. Like we spoke, instead of him like talking to me like a child, he's talking to me like an adult. But because she was here, I got closer to her. But daddy's been all over the world, like literally. So I haven't gotten a chance to like be like that with him.
There was a note that you wrote Mom apologizing when you had went to college, right?
Probably.
Okay, so you don't remember. Okay, so I can't ask you that.
No, because
during
that time, remember, I was in plebe summer. We wrote letters.
Okay.
because I was so far away. We didn't have a phone. And what do you remember? Because that might be another thing I blocked out. I don't know.
So I don't think I ever read it, but I remember you or mom, somebody talking about it. You had wrote her a note, like apologizing for like everything that you did and like being disrespectful and all the other stuff. But I bring that up because I wanted to ask you, like, what opened your eyes? You know what I'm saying? Was it the plea that whatever it was called at naps, where like everything was like, oh, I'm not in Durham no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, was it that, or was it just like something else? She was like, yo, like I really need to chill out. Like my parents could be gone at any point. Like what kind of hit you?
I think being still for the first time in my life.
Talk to me.
And I was young then, and I sound like super old even saying that, but constantly as a child, you are dependent on somebody else. Like they're providing for you, giving you food, doing everything for you. So only thing that you have to focus on are things that are for you. You only have to focus on your happiness. Right. You only have to focus on providing things for you.
Right.
I mean, hardly providing because they're providing for you. You only think about things you like, football, the girls you like, going to school, like having fun, going out and playing. Like my mind was solely on that. So when anything became a conflict outside of that, like parents not letting you do what you want to do, any of that stuff, like, I didn't really care about it. I didn't care to even understand it. And it just seemed like it was a nuisance, right? And I either rebelled, got disrespectful, or whatever. I just didn't even try to understand it. So for the first time, I think, going somewhere else, being still, being away from all the sports, all the girls, and all the other stuff, having some quiet time to myself, I got a chance to really look back at the things that my parents did for me, that my mom did for me, that my dad did for me. Then I thought, like, how appreciative was I for it? And I wasn't. And it's not that they ever asked me to be appreciative. I just realized that I wasn't. And I was like, why did I respond the way that I responded? And I think during that time, I was getting closer to God, and I was reading the Bible and all these different areas. I was trying to improve my life, that I was writing letters. I was like, Mom, like, just, I'm sorry. Like, that was the best I had. That was really all I had to give. And maybe I was blaming myself for the way our relationship was. And I also knew that was the first time Dad had left and went back to Liberia to run for an extended amount of time, because I think he was almost gone for 9 months. So the two oldest men, the two men in the house, were gone at the same time. And that was the first time that happened. It was just you, Aaron, and Anna, and Ma. So, I don't know. I guess that was a lot to say. Like, I know and I don't know, but it was time for me to apologize for all the things that I didn't understand.
During naps, y'all had, like, you guys had your phone for like you couldn't really have your phone.
No, you got your phone, I think, every Sunday or every 2 Sundays for like 10 minutes.
So that was like, wow, that's crazy. So that was like, I'd assume it gave you a lot of time to really just think.
That's all you had. All you had was literally between your two ears.
Yeah.
And just like trying to observe what was going on.
Yeah.
Things that you don't do ever when you're a child.
Right, because while you're a child now, with everybody on social media, Instagram, and all that stuff,
and it doesn't mean we can't teach our kids to do that, though.
Right, and I think we definitely should. Yeah, I was actually, I was just talking to Anna about like being people claiming that like they know themselves and all the other stuff, but but it's kind of like me being with you, right? If we hang out, but you're on your phone, you're not paying any attention to me. Yes, we're together, but we're not really spending like quality time.
There we go.
Right. So it's like when people say like they know themselves, but when you're by yourself, are you off of your phone, or are you on your computer or something like that? Are you actually talking to yourself, going over what just happened, be it an issue, or just going over your day, and really just being with yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Man, I've seen you grow so much. Like, it's ridiculous. And like hearing you talk like that is like blowing my mind right now. It's not that I don't get it, because I know this is all things that you have learned and you've implemented in yourself. So I'm happy that you're sharing this with me, because it's something that I also want to do. But the reason I bring that up too is because I want to know the type of father that you want to be.
Ooh,
and how you plan to try to implement some of these things that you've now invested into your own life. And maybe you need our help in doing that, but what type of father do you see yourself being that you want to be?
What kind of fathers are there? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, there actually is a couple different names. I got them all written down.
I know I don't want to be the helicopter one.
Oh, like a
the
you
hover.
really don't know the type of dad I think you're gonna be until it happens.
Oh,
remember,
okay.
I was wild. I was all over the place.
Yeah.
As soon as I had a Zai, I felt fragile. I felt like he was always gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
I was like super safety dad, always like safety deck observer all over the place. I didn't want him to jump off stuff. I never saw myself being like that. I had to grow out of it. But so maybe I shouldn't even ask the type of dad you're gonna be, but what do you want to be like?
What do I want to be like? What do I want to be like? I'm still not sure if I know how to answer. Like, can I?
Maybe do you have a vision for? I should say you have a vision for your family, but that sounds kind of wild. That sounds kind of wild to ask you right now. But
I mean, to start off, I mean, there's tons of things that I watch you do that I would love to do.
Talk to me about
You know
that.
what I'm saying? Most recent thing, you had the playpen, the thing in the garage.
Yeah, Sonny got one of them bad boys.
Yo, like I'm trying to come over. Let me get in. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have
Put
my
a little
own time.
Chuck E. Cheese ball pit in there.
I'm not sure if this is necessarily a type of dad, but I definitely want to have the funds to be able to give my children the things that we did not have. I think there were one of the episodes. Oh, it was the guy, I forgot his name.
G?
Was it the guy? It was sort of along the lines of like mental health.
Probably
stuff
RJ.
like that. Okay, so maybe it was
when
RJ.
I cried at the end, I always cry when I'm with
I'm not
RJ.
sure if it. Maybe it. So you might figure it out once I finish. So he was talking about how, he said he was talking to his child, and he was like something like, I'm not being mean. I can show you mean. And then his wife had said like, why are you being mean to him?
Yeah,
like,
I think
you're
that was
just
RJ.
jealous. Yeah, he was saying,
you're just jealous.
Yeah. Like I want to be able to give my kids things that we did not have, because we had good things.
Give them a life that you could be jealous of.
Yes, a life
That's
that
exactly what he
it could
said.
be jealous of. I don't necessarily see myself being like the friend type, but I would love for my kids to feel comfortable talking to me at any time. At any time. I'm big on communication. And I would love for my kids to be like, Dad, like, or even if they don't come to me, if I see them down or something like that, I'll find the right time. Maybe everybody else went upstairs, he's cleaning up or she's cleaning up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Junior. Right? Like, Junior, you know what? There's something happened at school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm working on. There's so
Why
many
are you
things.
selling it? Is that your daddy voice?
I mean, it. You got to put on a certain tone depending on who you're talking to. When you talking to your lady, you gotta talk to her real smooth. You gotta go Denzel.
Okay, yeah.
But there's something happened at school. Kind of move into a real smooth, and that's also something that I'm working on now.
Yeah.
Continuing with my communication and that kind of thing. But I definitely want to be that kind of father that can talk to their kids about whatever is going on, no matter what it is. You know what I'm saying?
One thing I would recommend to you is before. This is why I tell people like this podcast is for everybody.
Right.
It's for people who don't have fathers. It's for the single mother who's looking for a father figure, a single mother who is being the father figure.
Yeah.
For the grandfathers, it's for any and everybody, because I think it's important even before you start having a family, even maybe before you get married, that you start indulging yourself in this type of material.
Right.
Because it's going to come in handy.
Yes.
And it's going to take time to understand.
Yes.
It's good to be around your friend who has kids and to be helpful
Yes.
to them and to see what they do, how they do it, pick out the good stuff, take out the bad, and kind of build something for yourself.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying right now is like all things that I also want to do.
Right.
I can say for me that one of the hardest things is still molding the communication piece,
Yeah. Okay.
because I'm working on not being so reactive. And
Okay.
the reason I have to do that is because Azai is very, I want to say sensitive maybe. I know there's a different word I
He
could
say
probably use.
emotional. Is emotional a word?
Yeah, emotional is a word. I feel
Okay.
like it has negative connotations sometimes.
Okay.
But you can say, let's say both of those things.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Cool.
But when I'm super reactive and maybe I just say things off the cuff, or I don't try to understand what he's going through, it might make him less willing. Literally, yes.
Okay.
It takes things
Okay,
literally. And then
okay.
a lot of kids do that. But like you saw today, right? He hurt himself.
Right.
And thankfully, like I had vocabulary to use at this point in time because of RJ in our last episode.
Which is great, by the way. You did a great job.
Yes, I tried to talk to him. I said, hey, are you scared or are you hurt?
Yeah.
And he literally stopped and he said, I'm scared.
Yeah.
But he got embarrassed because he was crying in front of his uncle and aunt. And he just sprinted off. And I was like trying to like get him to come back over and try to talk to me. And he just wouldn't come. He would not come and talk to me. He would not come over. Yeah. He wouldn't say anything. So I got to a point where I had to go over and talk to him. And he still didn't use those words. And maybe we're not at the point yet where he can just automatically just start spilling out those words and saying whatever to me. Yeah. But I still don't have, I still don't know that I'm there yet with him, that he feels completely comfortable to, when he has a bad dream, come to daddy and tell me exactly what his dream was. Or when he did something that he wasn't supposed to do, come straight to me and say it. So I'm still building that. But I have to indulge myself in the material and get the words and the vocabulary, learn how to do that.
Facts. I was, well, I'll say this. What's going to be crazy is not the word, but how hopefully they do become comfortable with saying, Daddy, I am scared, right? And then continue to grow up and still feeling comfortable with saying I am scared. I was on the way up here, me and Anna, we were talking about, all this kind of stuff. And she knows how hard it is for a man to say I am scared.
Bro, when you said that, I just tried to picture myself saying it to daddy.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't know if I could.
Yeah.
Not because I don't think he will receive it. It's because I don't think I've ever been there before. I've been there before. I've definitely been scared around, but I don't think we just don't have that relationship.
Yeah.
Have your parents ever in the past, when we use those, that's why. You hear me now?
Yeah.
Have y'all ever used one of those, I guess, in quotes, what they would consider a negative word to your parents? What were their reaction? Because I know, and no fault to my parents, but once again, Caribbean background, those words are like...
You talking about like curse word?
They were like curse words, or like...
when you say negative word, you saying like, have we ever used a curse word?
No. In their mind, a negative word is scared.
Oh, like that should not be in your vocabulary.
Correct.
Okay.
It even makes me think about I forgot the movie with Denzel when the son had a heart attack.
Oh, John Q?
Yeah, John Q.
Yeah.
Vocabulary.
Yeah.
It makes me think of that. Like, so have you ever had that experience with your dad? Because I think Caribbean African household, that's a very big thing. Like, hey, like they would shut that down quick.
Yeah.
Y'all recalling the experience with that?
Just because my daddy don't talk that much.
Yeah, definitely not from daddy, if anybody.
Because my dad don't talk that much. Yeah. Like, it would definitely come from my mom, and I feel like I have been there before.
Okay.
With her.
I mean,
but it wasn't super assertive, I don't think.
Yeah, like I can't. This might sound bad. And I was still having to think about it, but I can't really. It kind of sounds more so like a tad bit of like motivation given to us, like don't say can or like don't say I'm scared, like that kind of. I don't really remember getting much motivation from mommy and daddy.
The motivation I remember getting from daddy was like
defend your position. Defend your position. Defend your position. I didn't.
That was his thing. And I feel it more now. Like I got almost emotional in the first couple episodes saying it because it meant more to me now. Like, like defend your position. What does that really mean? I can now defend my position at work. I can defend my position in my home. Like all these different things. But at the point in time, the only vocabulary he really had. Not saying he didn't speak English. I don't want people out there speaking. My dad didn't speak English. My daddy knew some Spanish.
Yeah,
he knew some French. He knew a lot.
Yeah.
But emotionally, like his emotional intelligence or whatever, in having conversations, communication, he just didn't. He didn't care for it. He was a hard worker. He was about that action.
Yeah.
And so when we went out, we were literally running a track meet. And if you know anything about track, it's not even really a team sport.
Yeah.
Ain't no defense in it.
Yeah.
So I'm about to go run the hurdles, and he look at me and say, Maggie, defend your position.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's like defend, like lane 4, like make sure nobody come in. Like what were you know?
Like what exactly we
Yeah,
going
do I
for
need
here?
to, swing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Defend it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
They definitely supported us though.
They
They definitely supported us. We definitely heard mom screaming when we were about to,
Yes, no, never mind. I was about to say something like that, but I think there was a point in time where mom didn't support me at football, but she didn't support me out of fear. When I first started, she never wanted me to play football because she was afraid.
I forgot
for me to play football.
When did she switch?
When that money started rolling,
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of what happened with my situation and her wanting me to play football. Well, I completely forgot about that.
I'm so glad we're talking about this because there's been multiple episodes that we've had a conversation about us being dads allowing our kids to play a certain sport. So there was a point in time I was just only running track. Like that was my thing, and I was good at it. But I really wanted to play football.
He was great at it
because thank you, I appreciate it. There was. I would have still had records if this one didn't break
that one over there.
Essentially, essentially every record that I've ever had nationally or whatever at any school, this one took it. But anyway, there was a point in time I only ran track, and then I really wanted to play football because all my boys were playing football, and she would say no. She said no multiple times, and then she was like, you know what? It's Mighty Mike. Pop Warner can't be that serious. She just let me go out for it, and I fell in love. She was like some of the guys who were on here who said, I would never let my child play, or maybe while they're young, or maybe they can only play this or that. She then reached the point where I was fighting to only play that, and I would resent her for not allowing me to do it, to a point where she just broke, said, you know what? I don't care. You go out. I ain't picking you up for practice.
Oh.
I ain't dropping you off to practice.
When was
I ain't
this?
taking you to no football games. This was going into high school.
Oh, wow, okay.
This was going into high school because before that, I was doing Pop Warner. Like middle school ball, she didn't really see like that serious.
Yeah.
She was like, any of that stuff, ain't no water, cleats, all that.
No water, wow.
Like, all that. You do all your stuff yourself. And maybe it was a part of she just wanted to see how serious I was. And another part of it, I really think, is that she was fearful. She was scared. She did not want me to do it. And I remember being at Pinecrest at a jamboree scrimmage or whatever, and I went up, came down, and like crushed my ankle. Like, twisted it all the way around, like something you would have saw on Scar. Somebody had to twist it back around for me, broke it in 3 different places, dislocated it, tore my Achilles and everything. And I remember coaches calling my mom, telling her what happened to me, and we drove all the way back, and Coach Branson got there, and she did not come. She said, I am not going. I told you not to play. You played. You got hurt. It's on you. And not only was I scared, I was upset. I was confused. I didn't understand.
Marcus, you didn't know about this?
He may have told me that she didn't come.
I don't know if I ever talked about it.
I don't. No, you definitely didn't.
You were
talk.
No, I didn't talk about it.
Like because it was like your sophomore.
Yeah, this was like freshman, sophomore year.
I was like 8.
Yeah,
I was like 8.
So, like Coach Branson in the middle of the night took me to the hospital. We did all that stuff together. Mama Love bought me milk and like all these different things. But now looking back, she put herself in a position where she was trying to do right by me by not stopping me. Yeah. But she didn't have it in her to like support me in it. Like she was so fearful. She loved me so much that she couldn't think of me possibly getting hurt. And then when I got hurt, she couldn't remove herself from that spot.
Yeah.
So it's probably 100 different ways that she could have prepared herself or done things differently looking back, because hindsight is always 20/20. Yeah. I'm just happy that I understand now that I don't resent her for that. Mom, if you're watching this, like I forgive you for that. That during that time, like I didn't understand, but I get it now. And maybe I could be telling the story wrong. I would love for you to give me a call, just tell me how it went. But like parents, man.
Yeah.
You know what I love about this? Because you guys are sharing this. There's somebody that's going to catch this that has something similar to share.
Yeah.
And you don't know what kind of toll it's taking on them. Yeah. Right? Because the body keeps score.
Yeah.
Right? So, like once again, I just hope when people are listening to this, they really dissect it and see, wow. Like, you guys are just regular African-American men.
Yeah.
and I keeping it 100.
Yeah.
Right.
All the way.
Yeah.
Right?
To the best of our ability.
So I commend y'all for that. I do have a question because Myer is not going to ask you. He's not going to ask you to edify him, but I want to know.
Oh God.
I want to know. This is season 2. You've been watching your brother. You know Myer before me. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So taking the context that you know your brother, right, and now we've seen him excel in school. You've seen him go to the Navy Academy. You've seen him, and probably, in my opinion, from what I know, one of the top ranking position in the Navy.
Yeah.
And now you see him giving back to a community local and at far, because anybody can tune into this podcast all over the world. Right? Looking at your brother now, what are some words that you can say to him? Like, hey, what are the first things that come out in your brain from seeing everything he's achieved as a dad, as a man?
Yeah.
Like what's clicking in your brain right now when you look at your brother and what he's doing?
Yeah. I feel like on a small scale, we may have talked about this before. And if we didn't, and this being the first time, I do want to say how proud I am. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we've talked about just me feeling like you haven't like been filling your own shoes, right? In a sense, like the positions that you held at Hillside, you know, like being one of the captains and the influence that I've seen you have and still have, yet still not filling your own shoes of it. You know what I'm saying? Only having like your tippy toes in it. And I think I sent you a text like a month or so ago and telling you about I think it was right after I watched one of the podcasts. I was like, yo, like this is gold. Like I see you talking to the world, like literally. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like this is just the beginning of what you're really capable of. So I mean that is one thing too. I've begun to like realize, not to say that Anna didn't have a great influence on me, because she definitely did. But beginning to realize the amazing job that both you and Aaron did, being a role model to me. You know what I'm saying? Even though, you know, you did get into trouble, it wasn't like crazy trouble, like, oh, like
Not
he
that
in
you know
jail
of.
for selling drugs.
Yeah.
Facts. Facts. Cause we
No, I didn't do anything too
But you know,
crazy.
it like, you know, it was you guys at the end of the day, you guys were always focused. You know what I'm saying? You always got the job done. You know what I'm saying? And I am not who I am today just because of me. You know what I'm saying? And it isn't just because of you know my coaches that was also a part of the village. Because at some point I had to go home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And watching you guys. You know what I'm saying? Just do what you guys did. Make sure you had the homework done, the projects done, graduating, all that other stuff. You guys did a wonderful job for me. You guys truly put down an amazing platform for me to be able to walk on safely. You know what I mean? And so that, and then just watch you do what you guys, I mean, like, to genuinely, to see that your kids and your wife are genuinely happy. They have your house, the cars, the funds that you have to do what you want when you want it. Seeing that these things are possible, right? Because we know how growing up, like society, you know what I'm saying, the things they're doing, saying you won't be able to do it, or it's going to be very hard to accomplish these things. Yet seeing someone who essentially grew me up, you know what I'm saying? We still trying to figure out if you actually did wipe my ass. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But that I grew up with all my life, seeing you do it. You know what I'm saying? And balancing everything else. You know what I'm saying? Still coming home at a good time to take care of the kids. You know what I'm saying? Not putting too much energy into your job. You know what I'm saying? I'm also not putting too much into your family to where you can still bring that money in, that balance, right? Seeing that it is possible. I mean, it's doing wonders for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then therefore, I am able to express these things, show these things, right, to my friends. You know what I'm saying? To strangers, to my young boys and all that other stuff. So the things that you are doing, it's influencing others that you haven't even you've never even met.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you, brother.
Thanks,
I
man.
am, man. Come on.
I love you, man.
Come on,
That was,
let's crawl up, brother.
yeah. Dang, man,
Right?
I appreciate that.
That's what
And
I do, yeah.
as a father,
Yeah.
like thinking about this relationship and just hearing you say these things, it's helping me remember, like, I got 4 boys at home, and
Four
that
boys, yeah.
they're going to be watching each other.
Yeah.
When I was in the house, I never thought about you watching me. Like, just being honest, like I cared about you, bringing you different places and doing things with me. But I only remembered my parents saying, don't forget that your brother's watching. Don't forget that you're the model. Like, I didn't really believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that you were actually watching.
Yeah.
Like, I'm grateful that I had the people around me to keep me straight and narrow. But I have to also remember that that's what is going to happen with my kids. Because when you texted me that night, I needed to hear it.
Yeah.
Because for people who don't understand what you say, like filling my own shoes, is I felt like myself and I was my best self in high school and then coming out of high school. Like, I was getting closer to God, like felt like I was on the top of the world. I felt comfortable in my body. I could talk to anybody. I was doing speaking engagements, all these different things. It wasn't really even about success. I just felt like my best self. And when I jumped after graduating, when I went to go get a job and then jumped straight into marriage and then jumped straight into being a father, I watched myself take a back seat. And it was a choice that I made.
Okay.
Consciously or unconsciously, but I know at some point it was a choice that I made because I put all these different pieces as priority, as the pedestal of everything that I needed to be. And I completely forgot about myself.
Wow.
I forgot about being happy because I was like, I don't need to be happy. I need to provide, right? So I need to go get this job. I need to stay in the Navy. This is what I needed to do. And I forgot about feeling good. I forgot about trying to dress a certain way. Like, I'm a dad. Nobody's looking at me. I'm already married, right?
Yeah.
No, nobody needs to look at me. I don't even need to look at myself. It's all. I'm good, right? And then years go by of doing that, and I was slowly, when I was in Guam, and I was just working super hard, like early in the morning to super late at night, super way away from my actual family and then away from y'all, and things got quiet again, like when I was at boot camp. And I got a chance to reflect. I looked at myself and I didn't recognize myself. And I realized that I actually wasn't happy.
Wow.
That although I had these things and I could do these things for all these different people, I could influence people, I could talk to people, I could do all that. I was like, I don't like the way I physically look. I don't like the way I physically think. I mean, the way I mentally think. And I don't really like where I am. I feel like my value was like put super down. Yeah, I'm a great dad, but am I a great person? I don't know. And that's when we started having a conversation about mental health and all this different stuff. And you started doing mental health therapy. You hadn't recommended it to me yet, but I think you had just first started. So when I got back, I needed to find something that I could do that was a hobby because I wasn't working out anymore. I wasn't really playing football. I wasn't doing anything. And the podcast came to mind.
Yeah.
I didn't care nothing about monetizing. I didn't care nothing about, getting 1 million followers or nothing. I still don't care about any of that stuff. I cared about trying to pull myself out of the hole that I saw myself in. And I was going to do it through talking about something that I cared about and that I knew how to do, or at least somewhat knew how to do. And then I wanted to help somebody else who was in that same position get out of it and know that they had a community of people that they can lean on. Because although I felt like that, I don't feel like I had any suicidal ideations, but there are people that do. And I want them to feel comfortable with being able to speak about it and know that they're not alone. And I don't care if it's somebody that I don't know or if it's people that are already following me or people that I do know. I want them to hear me say it out loud, face to face.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you told me that, I think a couple days later, I put in my resignation to the Navy. I've been there for so long and wearing a uniform, I put my resignation in because I was like, I'm changing. And I'm changing because I want to.
Right.
I care about what I look like now. I'm buying, clothes here and there. I gave away I had Anna come. I gave away all the clothes that I had. Yeah. And I started buying different things. I didn't really have much, right? Because I was buying stuff every week or every paycheck. I started buying stuff. I started caring about what I wore a little bit more. I started reading the things that I wanted to read.
Yeah.
Started telling myself I love you
Yeah.
a little
Ooh,
bit more.
please,
At
please
night,
do.
I started affirming myself the
Yes.
same way I teach my son to affirm himself because I
Yes.
wasn't affirming myself. I started
Yes.
doing that. I started getting rid of negative talk.
Yeah.
I started getting in front of the camera instead of being insecure, hiding behind camera, like hiding behind closed doors and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the last piece of that was understanding the value I had of myself. The rest of everything else, I was putting it in the Navy. I was like, you know what? Navy's great. They gave me everything. They provide. They're the reason why I have this. They're the reason why I have food on my table and the bills and all that stuff. And then the spirit came to me and was like, that ain't the Navy.
Right. Lies.
Lies. That ain't the Navy.
Right.
That's God given.
Right.
He gave that to you. You can go do these things.
Facts.
You put the food on the table.
Right.
You pay those bills.
Right.
You take care of those kids.
Right.
You love your wife. You kiss them at night.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? You're right. So maybe I need to detach myself from something and stop being afraid. A little bit of risk management, right? Aaron is always talking about take a risk. I was like, boom,
facts.
here it is. And I'll be good. So
Amen. That's
I appreciate you.
that's beautiful, man. What's a better word for proud? Nothing. We'll come up with something else later.
Yeah,
on.
we'll make up a cool word.
That is so beautiful, man. I'm so glad that you made that step or all those steps.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's we had a conversation about this. I think when I had came like during Thanksgiving or something like that. It was just me and you downstairs, and I think that was the first time that we had that conversation. It also makes me feel good when I say these things, and then you say like, yeah, like I've thought about it. You know what I'm saying? Which made me feel good, but now it makes me feel even greater knowing that not only that we are on like the same page, but you actually started making the decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
And that's the big thing. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to realize what you're doing wrong, right? But there's another thing when you are actually taking the steps and the constant steps, right? Try and find some kind of stride to stay on to progressively progress, right, in life. And then that calls for community. You know what I'm saying? Staying around those people who give positivity to you and to the world all the time. You know what I'm saying? That kind of things. But that I'm gonna say I am so proud of you, man. And
I think
please, man, that is beautiful, bro.
Yeah, man. So I got two things before we get out of here.
Okay.
One of the things I think I kind of had written down, and I want all the dads hearing this and other guys who are in the position to hear this, because I know that there are fathers like myself and people who want to be fathers or plan to be fathers in the future who just need mentors, just need people around just talking to them and things like that. The first question is, can you tell me maybe a few ways that I could possibly help you to prepare to be a father, I guess? Like maybe things that you want to see or need to see or things you think you might have challenges with. And then before we go out here, I want you to just say a few words to Daddy. I don't know if he'll ever see this. I don't know if maybe I got to shoot a clip to him, or maybe when he gets back. Yeah. I've only done this like one other time. I want you to just, look at him as if you're talking to him. Maybe just give him a short little letter.
Right. So to the first thing, the first thing is easy. First thing being, I need you, right, to continue to become who God wants you to be. Continue to fill those shoes, right, and then break out of those shoes and have to buy some more. That's what I need you to do, right, because that's gonna, regardless, though I'm not 12 years old now, you're still my older brother, so I'm still gonna be looking at you. You know what I'm saying? Because I want what you have. I want the family. I want the kids, the picket fence, because y'all got a picket fence. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I need you to continue to become that great person, right? And then whenever you can, continue to stay in contact with me. You know what I'm saying? So that we can talk. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not who I am because of me. You know what I'm saying? Or just because of my coaches. You know what I'm saying? We talk a lot about a lot of things, be it relationships or more spiritual things, which are things that I need, you know what I'm saying, in my life. So as you continue to become that great person, right, you will only continue to, you will become even more and more important to me, and you will be able to help me even more as I grow. You know what I'm saying? There is no reason for me to surpass you. It maybe in one or two aspects or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
but the aspects that you have now that you are in already that I am not in, such as being a father, such as being a husband, right, so on and so forth, you should be continuing to progress in that, so that once I do get in there,
Yeah.
right, then I should be able to come to you and you be like, boom, boom, boom. Or I don't know this step, but I know somebody.
Yeah, I got you.
You feel me? So that's that. Did I answer that first?
No, yeah, you did. And I hope all the fathers hear that, because I know you got guys in your life who may or may not have kids. This is exactly what they're looking for. They want you to stay in contact with them. They want you to be a model to them.
Yeah.
And they want you to continue to grow. So when they're ready, you can communicate those things and be able to help them.
Right. You said the second one is something to daddy.
Yeah, I want you to talk to daddy, man. Say
Daddy.
whatever you need to say, things that you appreciate.
Yeah.
Thank him, love him, things that you need, whatever.
Yeah. Daddy, I love you. Yeah. You did an amazing job with 4 beautiful and amazing kids. Though we did not have the relationship that we could have had in terms of communicating emotionally and all that kind of stuff. As said beforehand, you made sure that we ate. You made sure that we had covers, right? You made sure that we had beds, that we had rooms and all to live in, to sleep in. You made sure that we went to school. You made sure that we were able to play sports since I was like 4, since he was like 8, 9, and all that stuff. And those things were, more than, they were essential to us, right? If it wasn't for you, yes, we had other influences, but if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have even been close to where we are now. You are your own self, so you could have left at any point. You could have went back home to where you love, and you could have stayed there, and we would have never known. So the fact that you stayed with us for as long as you did, and not to say that you've even left, I thank you. I thank you for being a blessing and allowing God to do a work through you, and therefore having an influence that you may never know through us. So I thank you, and I love you, Daddy. Yeah. Peace.
Thank you for watching. You just listened to Here for the Dads podcast with Myer. I am so grateful that you're here. But if you're new to this space, what I need you to do is slow down and subscribe, share, review, or rate. Whatever you can to help me out, because I'm on a journey to create a space for existing fathers and new fathers that's going to allow them to be a little bit more confident and a little bit more efficient at what they're doing. Thank you.